Now business wisdom is available to you 24/7. Forbes India is now online at www.forbesindia.com.
Its honor is beyond measure. Its pedigree is peerless. So few have ever won because we've actually only done this once.
I'm here to present Best Comedic Actress in a Film.
I can't tell you how much this means to me. Seriously, I can't tell you. I don't know what this is. It's like the first year.
The 2012 Comedy Awards, an honored tradition since last year. 28th May at 8 p.m. on Comedy Central.
The Chevrolet Blockbuster Weekend. Book a Beat or a Spark and you could win a short gifts worth rupees 2 crores. Or the car itself. Rush to your nearest showroom for the Chevrolet Blockbuster Weekend. 25th, 26th, 27th May only.
Welcome back. You're watching our special coverage of the CNBC TV 18 Investor Camp from beautiful Srinagar. As you can see behind me, the spectacular Taj property out here in Srinagar, and it's so good to come to such a pretty place to talk to investors. A few hundred investors turned up as well, and they, as you've been hearing, Ramesh Damani has been telling them there is not time to give up on stocks. This part of the presentation is from SP Tulsian, talking about specific stocks and the sectors that you should be betting on now to make some money out of a difficult equity market.
Welcome to Srinagar, Mr. Tulsian. First, one word on what kind of mood you bring from Bombay, because a lot of people work with sentiment in the stock market more than anything else. What's sentiment like?
Mithali, let me tell you, obviously the mood is dull and bad amongst the investors community. But when I landed here, I thought of that, let me take a piece of Srinagar to Mumbai, so at least that can cheer up the mood all the time. But I don't know whether the Srinagar people will allow me that to happen or not. But I think that they are big heart people, and they'll, at least on the feeling front, I'm not taking it physically. So it's honestly, I tell you, a great city, great place to be here. So first, let me thank to all of you that, you have given us an opportunity. Now, see, we have all been talking about the investments, but as Ramesh has nicely presented the whole thing, I don't think that we have rightly defined ourselves as an investor. Just to give an example, whenever I also interact with maybe about 1,000, 2,000 investors, at a frequent interval, and whenever suppose you have bought a share A and the stock has gone up by about 5% in 1 month, you won't sell that share. And if you bought a share B and that has gone down by 2%, you don't want to keep it in your portfolio. I don't understand this logic, because you have to go with the time.
One question we always get from retail, Mr. Tulsian, and that doesn't depend on what the market is doing, is ye sab to operator driven hai. Hame nahi pata kya ho raha hai, but somebody is playing some games with the stock. Do you feel at this point in time it's more relevant, or there's something like that happening when you see an IRB fall 48% in 1 week, Nagarjuna Construction, the steel companies? Is it a very shallow market and hence dangerous in the mid-cap space right now?
Mithali, see, let me tell you, or let me confess that yes, there is market making element, or we can loosely say that it's the operator, presence in some of the stocks. But see the proportion. I don't think you can stop it totally. Maybe about a couple of years back, it used to be 10%. We used to find maybe in 80, 100, 150, 200 stocks. I'm talking of the NSE listed one, because NSE has a listing of about 1,300 stocks. At that time, used to find out the list of maybe about 100 to 150 stocks. And in fact, all the investors, so-called investors, I'm not saying traders, they were in fact more interested in buying those operator-driven stocks only. But yes, lately the quantity has stopped. In fact, you virtually see the new IPO listed stocks, the kind of operations we used to see has come to an end.
Okay, let's get talking about stocks. FMCG is an argument you've all heard quite a few times on the channel, so everyone knows that lever is a story to buy. But let's approach it a different way in terms of sectors that have really gotten broken down, and what you would recommend, Mr. Tulsian, from that space. Starting off with banking, and I'm clubbing NBFCs over there as well, because the price damage has been much larger there. What would you buy now from the banking stroke NBFC?
Across the board, in fact, I'll buy all the companies. But yes, again, you need to have some parameters. Suppose, take for instance, if I take a call on the mid-cap PSU banking stocks like Dena Bank, UCO Bank, IOB, Syndicate Bank, I'm not including Canara Bank, PNB, or maybe Central Bank and SBI in these lots, because they are top 5 banks, and maybe the Canara Bank. If you place all these banks, and if you have a payout ratio of maybe about 25 to 30% of the net profit having earned by the company. In fact, if you see the performance of all these banks, they have all been ruling at a price to book of less than price to book of or maybe price to book of 0.6, 0.7 on the higher side. It starts anywhere between 0.4 to 0.7. In fact, if you see on a P multiple basis, they are ruling anywhere between 3.5 to 5.5. I'm talking on the historic earning, or maybe 3.5 to 5. I'm not saying that the future growth is going to come. We are going to see a 15%, 20% growth. Let's not take the forward earning. Stick to the historic earnings. If you are getting the shares of these companies with a dividend yield of close to about 4%, I don't think that you need to complain anything.
Okay, let's open the house up to you. There are mics that will be provided. So if you have a question, just raise your hands and a mic will reach you and you can pose a question to Mr. Tulsian.
Well, my name is Asmat Hussain. My question is, what determines the index? Well, we have seen BSE, NSE. What determines the index?
See, in Nifty there are 50 stocks, that is National Stock Exchange 50 stocks, and BSE there are 30 stocks. And it is the prerogative of the stock exchanges, because they try to give the equal representations to all the sector. Maybe the IT, banking, infrastructure, cement, steel, and all sort of things. So they keep rejuggling. Sometimes they knock out a cement company and include a paint company. It is not necessary that the weightage is maintained in the same way, but they go by the market capitalization. Even they go by the promoters also. Sometimes if they find that some promoter has a heavy loading, take for instance the ADAG group. They found that he has all his 4 stocks presence in the benchmark. They remove that. So this classification this reclassification keeps happening, but this constitutes 30 shares in the BSE Sensex and 50 in the Nifty.
Well, warm round of applause, please, for our guest today. Thank you very much, sir.
That was SP Tulsian from the Investor Camp. If you've joined in late, of course, to remind you, this is a very special Investor Camp coming out of Srinagar. As you can see behind me, the beautiful and spectacular Dal Lake, and that's the setting for this Investor Camp this time around. We'll take a quick break at this point. When we come back, Sudarshan Sukhani will join us to talk about the technical picture of the market. Don't go away.
नेशनल बॉल पेंटिंग के फाइनल मुकाबले में लकी, पप्पू और छुटका